Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the WCW Saturday Night Review series. Also, if you're looking for business, relationship, or life coaching, go to my main channel, Golden Opportunities Coaching. Would love to help you. Have helped over 15,000 people in dozens of countries over the last 14 years. Would love to be of service to you in that way. But this is the WCW Saturday Night Review series, and we've got over close to 1,300 wrestling reviews and interviews on this channel, so certainly something for you to check out. From Mid-South to World Class to WCW to the old school WWF and all points in between, including modern wrestling, we've got all that along the way. This particular edition, though, the September 4th, 1993 edition of the Saturday Night series, this would be my 12th birthday, so probably watched this while eating birthday cake, who knows. Anyway, British Bulldog, Ric Flair, and Sting versus Harlem Heat and Sid Vicious. Flair comes out with a weapon, I think a 2x4 or uh, maybe 1x8 or some sort of stick along the way here. Flair had been attacked by Sid in previous weeks, not wanting to deal with that, and so that kind of continues to go around. That's the main event though, and I jumped a couple of steps there, obviously, but regardless, that is the main event, and the reason I jumped is because my file opened in the middle of the file here. Anyway, we open the program with the, I guess you'd say, somewhat return or promise of return of the Too Cold Scorpio, among others, and kind of, Saturday night at this time, kind of a disorganized program a little bit. We continue to show the U.S. title match series. Rick Rude and Dustin Rhodes, Rude winning last week, and so obviously they are continuing their, I believe, best of three series. Rick Rude and Dustin Rhodes having a good series at the time. This is Rude's kind of floundering after being majorly pushed in the promotion for an extended period of time. Rhodes, on the other hand, not floundering, but trying to find his way. Does by the end of this point, I think his series with Steve Austin that comes late '93 is probably one of my favorite memories and feuds of Dustin Rhodes at the time. Rude comes up with a basic headlock. They go back and forth. Rhodes works the arm, Rude works the head. Several minutes there. Of course, they've been feuding for a couple of months ever since Rude's return after being stripped of the championship in '92. Pretty basic feud for the time, but at the same time, at least they kept some congruency with feuds at the time. Rude works the midpoint of the match, suplexes, forearms, attempted cheat pins, whatever have you. Rude will cheat and does whenever he can get the advantage, whenever he can hold an advantage, and some attempted bridge work. Anyway, Rhodes ends up getting a backslide roll up and getting a victory there, evening things at one fall or one match apiece. I guess the rubber match will be the following week or soon thereafter. Needless to say, we come back to, and this is an abridged version, so only 41 minutes runtime here. Yoshi Kwan up next, who has been in and out of importance over the last little while. Too Cold Scorpio, his opponent here. Scorpio, who by late October, so another month and a half, 2 months here, is back to tagging with Bagwell more religiously and being a big deal here. But Scorpio also given some singles matches during the time period. Scorpio with the Halloween pumpkin orange tights. Yoshi Kwan, who they seem to push, but not a lot. Harley Race on the outside. Just the idea that Harley Race and Too Cold Scorpio were in the same place is kind of surprising to me. Kwan does some takedowns, not to mention some martial arts style sweeps and kicks and the like, and then goes into the arm bar basic roll through. Hard shots by Quan. Quan manages to get a couple of shots under the the gut there, and some kicks along the way. Basic stuff. Um, Roundabout kick and really basic things there, and um, you know, uh, Scorpio manages to get a comeback a little bit. Chops and basics. Nice headstand in the corner, up and over by Scorpio. Scorpio manages to hit some pretty aggressive forearms, and then manages the twisting top rope splash style maneuver there. Scorpio misses a cross body along the way, and misses another high risk move along the way as well. The basic stylistic differences here: Quan more the striker, obviously Scorpio the high flyer, no big surprise there, and a modified neckbreaker, bridging neckbreaker type submission, which is interesting. But anyway, they get the victory. Yoshi Kwan, Harley Race places the bag along the or over the neck of Yoshi Kwan. Harley Race basically saying that Kwan will face Cactus Jack at the pay-per-view. Also, basically saying Cactus will be eliminated completely, and that's the tease there. Cactus Jack says he'll be back soon. They do a split screen where Cactus Jack promises to take out not only Yoshi Kwan, but Harley Race and eventually Vader for the World Championship 2. That's the build for the next little while. Cactus is great here. Worth going out of your way to see. Hype for the, hype for the pay-per-view that we see Anderson and Roma gonna face the Hollywood Blondes. I mean, there's a lot of kickoff there. A couple of weeks away from the Fall Brawl pay-per-view. I remember this is one of the few WCW pay-per-views as a kid that I didn't care about because the matches just didn't do anything for me, and I would skip back then as a kid. I would never do this now, but I would skip pay-per-views that felt flat, and this is the first WCW pay-per-view since of the year that I had cable, or about a year, that really just felt flat to me, and it was the only one that at that time, as a young kid, I didn't ask my grandparents to buy for me because it was just like, this is, this who cares? It's a War Games that doesn't really matter. Even I was able to figure that out as a kid. Anyway, Ice Train in a squash match here. Real basic stuff. Power related maneuvers. He looks like $1,000,000, but never really catches on. Hard clotheslines and a power slam by Ice Train. Eventually, within the next couple of weeks, they put him up, or actually, they even started here. They put him up with, Thunderbolt Patterson, who endorses him for a bit. Ron Simmons eventually endorses him and puts him over as a major athletic uprising for the next little while. It's just interesting that who they see as worth pushing at the time is a big deal. And then we go back to the Harlem Heat and Sid Vicious versus Flair, Sting, and Davey Boy. Six-man tag. It's kind of interesting in that, Harlem Heat and Sting and Bulldog, I think, will be in the pay-per-view in a couple of weeks. I don't know why they're putting Flair in there unless they were planning to go with Flair and Sid for a while, although the original plan for Starrcade at the end of the year, which isn't that far away, it's less than a quarter of a year away, was Sid and Vader. I don't know if that was the plan here in September, but it's where they were going until Sid and Arn Anderson got into their backstage skirmish that nearly killed both of them. One member, Harlem Heat, goes pretty aggressively at Sid, or at the Bulldog. Bulldog holds on to headlocks for a while. Davey Boy's still here, seen as a main eventer. I did not remember that he was here that long. For some reason, I thought he left right after the summer Beach Blast Beach Brawl pay per view, and I did not remember this segment of his deal 30 years later. So that's interesting. Flair comes in, does a top rope double axe handle on Sid. Hits some chops on Sid, and for about 15 seconds, it looks like Flair and Sid are contemporaries, but obviously Sid gets some power down there. Flair gets cut off for a couple of minutes here. Flair at the time, about to split off with Rick Rude for a while. I believe actually this upcoming pay-per-view, Flair has a match with Rude for the title at the time, the World Championship at the time. They do not call it the NWA Championship because they've seceded from the NWA. I think that announcement is a couple of weeks away here. But anyway, backbreakers by one half of Harlem Heat. Flair is cut off in their corner. Sid comes back in and dominates Flair. And with about 2 minutes left in the program, it looks like there's going to be no winner here. But they eventually do get all of the baby faces in the ring, all 6 guys in the ring. Meanwhile, Rick Rude runs down and attacks Ric Flair on the outside. Complete schmoz of a non-finish, really, is what happens here. Flair gets rolled back into rolled to the outside. Rude and Flair continue their battle on the inside, and the match never officially does end with a clear finish. We will be back with more right after this.